Welcome to the Doctor Who Dad, where I will be giving information about Doctor Who serials. Please see description for more details. The Rescue is the third serial of the second season of the British science fiction television series Doctor Who, which was first broadcast in two weekly parts on January 2 and January 9, 1965 on BBC One. It was written by outgoing story editor David Whittaker and directed by Christopher Barry. In the serial, the time travelers, the first Doctor, William Hartnell, Ian Chesterton, William Russell, and Barbara Wright, Jacqueline Hill, befriend Vicky, Maureen O'Brien, an orphan girl marooned on the planet Dido who is being threatened by an apparent native of Dido called Coquillian, Ray Barrett, while awaiting rescue. The Rescue was produced in a 6-episode block with the Romans and was the first story produced in Doctor Who's second production block. Rehearsals and recording took place from November 30 to December 11, 1964, entirely in studio. The two episodes were watched by 12 and 13 million viewers in the UK respectively and have received generally positive reviews from critics, who praise the character-based storytelling, although plot holes were noted. Both episodes of The Rescue have been retained in the BBC archives, and the story has been novelised and released on VHS and DVD. The serial is notable as the first appearance of O'Brien as companion Vicky. Here's the two episodes for this story. 1. The Powerful Enemy, January 2, 1965. 2. Desperate Measures, January 9, 1965. The Rescue was written as a short vehicle to introduce Vicky as the new companion, replacing Carol and Ford, Susan, when Ford decided she wanted to leave the series, and is thus more character-driven than anything that had preceded it. Vicky was a replacement for the Doctor's granddaughter, Susan, Carol and Ford. In contrast to Susan, Vicky is an Earth orphan from the future. The production team considered many names from here, some of them odd like Lucky and Tanai. Doctor Who creator Sidney Newman told actress Maureen O'Brien that they were considering having her cut her hair and dye it black. O'Brien refused, saying, "Why don't you just get Carol and Ford back?" The Rescue is the first story under Dennis Spooner as script editor, though he is not listed in the credits because he had little to do since much of the job was given to his predecessor David Whittaker and thus he is not credited. The story was commissioned on November 1, 1964, the day after his contract with the BBC for his position as script editor had expired. The scripts were due on November 10. In Whittaker's original draft, entitled Doctor Who and Tanai after one of Vicky's original names, there are a few differences from the broadcast version. Bennett was more unkind to Vicky. Notably, Coquillian had a torch device, which he used to paralyze Ian upon meeting and interrogating him and Barbara in the first episode. He hypnotized Ian and Barbara and tried to get them to encourage the Doctor to come out of the TARDIS, but the Doctor could see this on the TARDIS scanner and demands the teachers be released. In a scuffle, Ian's trance was broken when he was shoved against the TARDIS and Barbara's was broken when she was thrown to the ground. The beginning of the first episode also had Ian confide to Barbara that he was afraid of a time where the Doctor would close the TARDIS on them and leave like he did with Susan, to which the Doctor, overhearing, replied that there would be warning if they were to part. O'Brien had just come out of drama school when she was cast as Vicky. It was her first television acting job. Director Christopher Barry originally wanted Bernard Arshard for the role of Bennett/Coquillian, but was not able to get him. Barry would later cast Arshard in The Power of the Daleks, 1966. The role went to Australian actor Ray Barrett, whom Barry had seen on TV and marked in his book of actors he wanted to remember, and so he dug him out of the book when the time came. Barrett played Bennett as a normal, straight human being so as not to give the ending away. To preserve the mystery, Coquillian was credited in the first episode as being played by Sidney Wilson, a name made up by the production team in tribute to two of the creators of Doctor Who, Sidney Newman and Donald Wilson. This was the first instance of an alias being used in the credits in order to conceal a plot twist in Doctor Who. The practice would be employed later on to conceal the appearance of villains Davros and the Master. Tom Sheridan provided the voice of the space captain and also played the Sand Beast. He was originally scheduled to play one of the Didonians at the end, but for unknown reasons they were played by two uncredited extras, Jon Stewart and Colin Hughes. The Rescue was the first in a new production block of Doctor Who. The first production block lasted for 52 weeks with one episode filmed per week, though the final two stories, Planet of Giants and the Dalek Invasion of Earth, were held back and the first season ended early. As such, there was a 6-week break for the regular cast before work on The Rescue began. The Rescue used the same production team as the following story, The Romans, and the two were combined to form a single 6-episode production block. Model filming took place in Ealing Studios on 16 November 1965. The models were made by an outside model maker called Shawcraft. As they were not designers, Doctor Who designer Raymond Cusick drew what he wanted the spacecraft to look like in more detail than he normally would have. He drew the spacecraft in flight as well as it wrecked so they could visualize it from the two. Cusick had found a cheap material he called reed hardboard, which was spray-painted silver and used for the outside of the craft prop. The design of Coquillian was based on a close-up of a fly. Rehearsals for the first episode took place from November 30, 1964 to December 3, with the episode recorded on December 4. Ford visited during rehearsals to meet O'Brien and wish her luck. Rehearsals for the second episode took place from 7 to 10 December 1964, with the episode recorded on December 11. Recording of the first episode overran its schedule by 15 minutes. The Dido Temple was a large set that was lit in such a way to create a dark atmosphere. Dark drapes and smoke were also used. When shooting Vicky's Sand Beast, Jacqueline Hill underestimated the gun's power and fired too soon. She was not seriously injured, though suffered shock and a sore face because it blew back in her face. The sound the Sand Beast makes while dying was modeled after the horrible noise a dying Dalek made in the Daleks. To save money, the score is reused from the Daleks, which Barry had partially directed. He selected pieces from episodes 1 and 4 through to 7 of that serial. I collect Region 2 versions of Doctor Who classics rather than Region 1 since it's easier to find them. Some Region 1 versions are out of print and or expensive. I suggest you're new to collecting, then go with Region 2 from the UK. Get yourself a region-free DVD or region-free Blu-ray player, or you can use VLC player on your computer. Please like, share and subscribe for information on more classic Doctor Who DVDs. Thank you for watching. You will find a link to all the stories I discuss in the description.